Good morning and welcome to this Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Breakfast for what day are we? Wednesday the 20th of May. It has been a couple of months now that we've been doing this business breakfasts and these live streams, and this morning really delighted to welcome our MP for Hutt South, Chris Bishop. Morning, Chris.
Morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I've been up and at 'em since 6 a.m, just done my boot camp for the day and had my first coffee, so it's all good.
What's boot camp? Actually, I haven't heard about your boot camp.
Oh, just a little fitness regime. Do 3 mornings a week down with Jen's boot camp down at the Tony Esplanade. It's all good.
Oh,
trying to get fit
excellent.
and lose a bit of weight.
Yeah, is it working?
So far, lockdown helped with that, I've got to say. All the takeaways that were closed, no more dirty burger and things like that. It's going to be a struggle now that, obviously we've got those great Hutt restaurants and cafes open again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this morning I thought we would share some information around the work you've been doing, Chris, in the business community, because I know that you have been really active, especially around Petone and promoting your local haunts and those sorts of things, and other businesses that you work with. And I thought we'd also talk a little bit about the shovel ready project. So a lot of us have put quite a lot of work into shovel ready projects, which are very important for the Hutt Valley. Mm-hmm. And of course, we can't go past that here. So shall we start with your hair, shall we?
You can start with my hair, yes, the mullet. So look, the backstory there, some people watching will have seen the media. The backstory there is that, my hair grew voluminously during lockdown. I was going to get a haircut, obviously. And I chucked up a photo on Facebook and someone said, "Oh, how many likes will it take for you to get a mullet?" And I didn't really think much of it. I just said, 1,000. And of course, one thing led to another, and it got to 1,500 likes. So I thought, okay, well, I'm a politician. I keep my promises. So I'll go and do it. And I thought, well, we'll make a bit of fun, do it for charity. And so got it done last Friday at Wildflower Salon in High Street. Great salon there. Amanda sorted me out. So it's not actually, it's extensions. So my hair is very long beneath it, but there's a few extensions to make it into the mullet. And so I thought I'd do it for charity. And so for every $1,000 we raise, I do it for another day. So it's been going since Friday. We've just hit $8,000. So that's 8 days. Wow. So I've got to go through until this Saturday. And it's for Good Bitches Baking, who are a network of people around the country who do an awesome job just making sweets and treats and baked goods for people who are doing it tough. Women and women's refuge, people who've had a death in the family, young mums, who don't have a lot and who just need a bit of a helping hand, and spread a bit of kindness around. So, and $10,000 for them goes a long way because their costs are kind of boxes and administration and things like that. So, can help a lot of people.
Right, and is it a nationwide charity? Did you say?
Yeah, nationwide. Operate in the Hutt as well. So but they operate nationwide. They do a great job, and we've had a bit to do with them over the years. So. Yeah, so they're $8,000 richer as of today, and I'm trying to get to 10. So if you're watching and you want to donate, if you check out my Facebook, you can find the Give a Little link. It's really easy. Just click online. You don't have to disclose your name or anything. If you just want to give me $10 anonymously, that would be great. And all donations gratefully appreciated. And you can keep the mullet going for another few days. Quite funny going around the Hutt, like people. It's very polarizing. People either love it or hate it. I walked out of the hairdresser, and the first person I walked into said, "Oh no. No. And I thought, oh, what have I done? I was quite worried about it. But actually, most of the reaction's been quite positive since then. So.
Oh, well, we have to celebrate some things at a time like this, don't we? So it's good to have some light relief in amongst all the seriousness that we are facing. And, it's comical. And good to see. So, okay, so you also, through lockdown, have been doing business with Bish. You've met with, I know you know many of the business community, and you've met with many of them. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so probably I've done 2 things, I suppose. The first is that, an MP's office is there just to assist with people who come to you for help. And, my offices were physically closed during the lockdown, but both my staff were working from home. So we had my Wainui office, obviously my Lower Hutt office, and so they were fully functional with staff working from home and on the computer and everything. And so, we're approached by a lot of businesses, particularly early on, about the access to the wage subsidy, and there was a lot of press about how it was being paid out really quickly, but actually, there were people who slipped through the cracks for whatever reason. and who, I had a lot of businesses contact me. I won't name them, but we're able to put them in touch, and also just get clarity on the rules as well. It's been really important as well. So particularly early on, what's essential, what's non-essential. As we move down to level 3, how do we do things safely? I think you and I actually, Helen, were involved in the bit of the issue to do with the doggy daycare places and dog grooming. There was a real lack of clarity around that. Different instructions from different government departments were able to sort through that. So when people have come and said, look, I need your help dealing with this issue, and there have been lots of different issues, we've been able to do that. And then I thought, well, okay, that's all fine, but what do businesses sort of actually really need now, particularly as we head into level 2? And I think the key thing is they need customers, right? They need people to go out there and spend a bit of money. And I know, it's hard for people, obviously worried about their economic future and worried about their job and their pay. But we're sort of all in this together. And so I've just been trying to promote some businesses out there. We started this little series actually using the program we're using now, StreamYard. So when I couldn't meet businesses physically, we've been meeting online. So we started with Dirty Burger, my favourite in Tony, and had a chat to Alex and spliced in some shots of the delicious burgers there. And then we did ESSC Eats, which is a awesome little food company around in Eastbourne, catering company. We've done Shazli Experience just the other day. I've just filmed some more yesterday, which will be going up over the next couple of weeks. Just an opportunity to get business going on Facebook, have a chat, because sometimes people, I find, they like to know about the background to the business, when it started, who the people are, who are the owners, what makes them tick, what they're trying to achieve with the business, and just fill out the story a bit. And look, it's a bit of free promo for the business, and it's gone down really well. Like I was talking to a couple of business owners who've been on so far, and they've been really happy with the end outcome. So just trying to do that. So going to keep rolling that out over the next few weeks and months. And if you're a business owner watching and you're keen to be on, flick me an email or a message, and we can tee it up.
Yeah, absolutely excellent. So certainly, it's interesting. There's a whole campaign around Love Local, and certainly when you look to recovery around COVID-19, we're going to be with it for a long time, and businesses need to, we're all adapting so quickly and doing things we've never done before and finding new business models, and we all need to support local. And certainly at the Chamber and with our Hutt Valley COVID-19 Business Support Group, which is the Hutt Valley Chamber and Hutt City Council and Upper Hutt City Council, we've talked a lot about the importance about the backstory and the individuals behind these businesses, because some of them are very strong personalities, but people know them personally, and it helps for us to promote them personally so that people can support them. And we've sort of done the same thing, showcased quite a lot of businesses who have done some excellent work and are going to be all part of our recovery, really, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the key points that a lot of business owners make to me, is that when you buy a burger from a shop, or you buy some you get a haircut, or you grab a coffee, you're not just obviously helping that business, but it's all the supply chain, right? I was at Stansbury yesterday, which great company down in Petone, and of course they take the wool from the Stansbury Greys over in the Wairarapa. And they turn it into those high quality textiles. And of course, you've got the loomers, and you've got the weavers, and you've got the sales and marketing team. And of course, sales and marketing team live, just off Jackson Street. Of course, they're buying lunch in Jackson Street. They're buying coffee, and so and it doesn't. And then of course, the coffee comes from somewhere, and all that. So, and the food, and so of course, if you just think about it logically, every time you support a local business, you're supporting a whole range of other local businesses as well, and families as well, because as you'd know, Helen, the Hutts are essentially a region of small businesses, and and a lot of them are family owned and family run, and so you're supporting households and livelihoods as well. So really important.
Yeah. I think certainly COVID has increased the awareness amongst the general population around the supply chain and how important that is, because you've only got to have a few shortages in supermarkets and people start to think about packaging and all the things they used to take for granted. So it's a new awareness, and that's good learning, really. The other part around small business, that our local business, that probably doesn't come through enough, is that these companies, these local businesses, are also the same people who support our local sports teams or our local kindergarten, or support a person who needs particular medical treatment or whatever. And often it's the business that gets behind an individual or a group in the community and provides a lot of unrecognised community support at a really grassroots level. And when you work, like in the Chamber, we work with sponsors and partners all the time, and you look at the partners that the Chamber is lucky enough to work with, and they're all community minded, and they're putting back into the community and want the community to be strong. And I think that's a positive for us going forward when we look at recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been saying to quite a few people that, yeah, you're exactly right. The local company that supports the school fair donates $100 for the raffle, and $50 for this, that, and the other thing. I mean, but a lot of restaurants and cafes, service industries in particular, do that a lot in Lower Hutt. The schools are and sports clubs are very grateful. And of course now that they've given quite a lot to the community, now's the time to support them, because that lockdown, I mean, it's been rough for a lot of businesses. The wage subsidy's been obviously very gratefully received and very good in the sense it's kept the cash flowing into people's pockets. But of course, it doesn't pay the rent, and it doesn't pay all the other costs that businesses have as well. And of course, when you've got no revenue coming in, it's been tough for a lot of them.
Yes, absolutely. So we've just completed our COVID-19 business survey, which ran through the second half of level 3 and the beginning of level 2. So we completed that. We closed it off just before the budget announcements last week. And that survey showed that 76% of people in the Hutt Valley, there was about 447 respondents across the whole valley, applied for the wages subsidy and got it. And that was really good. And about 20% didn't apply. So, if you applied for it, it was very quick for many businesses to get it. And it certainly helped give our businesses in our valley some breathing space, so they didn't have to react suddenly or from a state of shock, and so could actually spend a couple of weeks thinking about where to from here and be more considered in their approach. It is a temporary thing, obviously, but I think that's delayed some fallout, and there will be continued fallout. But it just meant it wasn't a sudden shock in terms of unemployment. And some businesses have had a little bit of that breathing space many, to reconsider how they move forward and what recovery looks like for them. I think that's a positive.
Yep, absolutely, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So certainly there's a lot of challenges now around rent and some of the fixed costs that happen in business, and I'm sure we're all looking at that currently. And I certainly know today I'm working on budgets, so we all will be looking very hard at budgets and trying to estimate how much revenue is going to drop, and where we can get the best return going forward. So a little bit, any more thoughts on recovery, Chris?
Look, I just think it's important we shop local, and rent is something that I know the government is looking at. They've been talking about that for quite a bit of time now. It is a tricky area because a lot of landlords have come to the party with business owners, and that people have made their own private arrangements, and you sort of don't want to get in the way of that. So I'm a little bit weary about this kind of binding arbitration stuff, negotiated settlements, which government imposes. And I've had quite a few business owners say that to me as well. This is like, actually, we've sort of sorted things with our landlord, or we've sorted things with our tenant, and things are all good. But I think there's probably a case for a bit more financial support for rent relief as well in some cases. So I sort of understand where the government's coming from, and that's why it's taken a while. So we'll sort of watch the space. Look, I think cash flow is going to be king. Cash flow is going to be key. Particularly as we move out of level 3 and level 2, we put some proposals on the table in opposition around GST and around asset write-offs, depreciation, that we think are worth looking at, and we'll be sort of pushing the case for those in the next few weeks and months, and we'll see where that gets to. I think the focus is really turning away now from the health response to the economic response, because it's going to be critical to our future.
Yeah, absolutely. The survey also showed how cash flow is by far and away the single biggest issue and worry for businesses currently is around managing cash flow. And it's a big issue. And in amongst all of this, one of the initiatives that came out of government was around infrastructure investment and shovel-ready projects. So we spent I spent a bit of time looking at what was proposed for the Hutt Valley in terms of shovel-ready projects. And certainly they're going to be an important part of our recovery, aren't they?
Yes, they are. We'll wait and see where that lands. There's $130 billion worth of proposals from around the country, so it's not just the Hutt Valley bidding in. It's it's the big cities as well. And so $130 billion, and there's $3 billion allocated in the budget for the shovel-ready projects. And I should say that's not that's in addition to all the stuff that's happening as well. So. The cycle path from Petone to Noronga, Melling in a couple of years once the consents are done, that's all separate. So this is new projects, and look, the intention of the government I think is a good one, which is to get people employed in construction and soak up a bit of that excess labour that's around, and get some easy wins, get some easy projects done that uses some of that capital. But yeah, it's only $3 billion in the budget so far. So 130 into 3 is anyone watching? I mean, even I only still see that, so it doesn't work. So we should be a bit cautious, I think, about getting everything we want.
Right, absolutely. So we've got a big job to do in terms of making sure the Hutt Valley gets a portion of that $3 billion, really. So
that's I think right. I think one thing that I am really keen on, it's not just for the Hutt, but Wellington is water, and that's something that I know the mayor is pretty focused on, Campbell Barry, and obviously Andy Foster in Wellington as well. Actually, it's a region-wide issue, and I think kind of all people sort of forget about it because of COVID, because that's been the focus. But back in sort of February, March, there was that very strong focus on our water infrastructure in the Hutt and the region, and I think people sort of waking up a bit actually to probably issues that have been maybe pushed aside for a few years, and we're now sort of bearing the consequences of that a little bit. So that I know has been a strong bid from the Hutt and other councils in Wellington as well for some access to some of that funding, and so I strongly support that.
Yeah, you can see the issues. I mean, I think we just take water for granted, to be honest, because we have so much of it, and it flows past our houses and our factories and our businesses and our roads constantly. And so we just don't even see it anymore. But you only got to look to Auckland right now, and look to our own situation at different times of the year when we've got too much water, or the quality is completely compromised. So yeah, really big issue that we need to address, really. So
yeah, agree.
Yeah, it's a big issue. The other thing around these shovel-ready projects that I think needs to be reiterated is that when there is government investment in an area, that encourages local and private investment as well, and gives other people confidence to invest. And I think when you look to things like Riverlink or State Highway 2 or whatever, and water investment and flood protection, then other people go, okay, so it sparks other people to step in and make their own contribution and their own investment in the area. And certainly I've had many conversations around how that would happen through the Riverlink investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And Riverlink's going to be a game changer for Lower Hutt. Totally transform that part of the city, transform our transport. People always say to me, oh, look, it's a it's just more, or some people say to me, oh, it's just more cars, we need to be doing better public transport. And of course that is completely right, but Riverlink and the Melling interchange is a public transport project as well, because they're going to get a new train station, or a moved train station closer to the CBD with a walking and cycling connection to the CBD, so people can go to and from, which it's going to be a lot easier to use the train station. It'll be a new train station, and cycling and walking will be a lot easier through it. That intersection is a nightmare for cyclists at the moment. You just have to ask any cyclist, they'll say to you, driving through Melling is a death trap. And so you're going to get a brand new cycle track, which will eventually connect into the one from Petone around the harbour into town. So that's all happening as well. So, it's going to be better for walking, it's going to be better for cycling, better for trains, better for buses, and better for private cars who use the interchange as well. And it will be less congested, and it will be more safe. That current road is extremely dangerous. So, look, it's just a win-win-win on multiple levels, really. And of course, then you've got all the economic development benefits of that new interchange and the turning the city towards the river, and the private sector investment that will be spurred because of the new interchange. So look, it's just a win-win-win, really. It's something, and that's why I campaign so hard for it, because it's just a no-brainer for Lower Hutt.
Yeah, and then you add in the flood protection, because we look at the decimation of COVID. Yeah, because it's the big one, isn't it?
Lammerson's watching. She'll kill me, because that was actually that sort of started the whole thing, right? I mean, people sort of sometimes forget. It was the long work on the flood protection. Decades long work actually now to upgrade the flood protection, and then of course once they decided to do the flood protection, which was regional council, it was like, okay, well, we can't actually do the flood protection properly without a new bridge and a new intersection, so we'll do that properly. And then of course you've got the council coming to the party too, saying, well, actually, if you're going to do all that stuff, regional council and the transport agency, just central government, will do some stuff as well to orient the city towards it. So that's why you've got three different partners, and that's why it's taken a bit of time, because you've got three different agencies, different paces and all that stuff. So, but look, it's going to be really good when it comes together, and just can't wait for that construction to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. Okay, I've forgotten to say, if anyone wants to ask Chris some questions, and you can put them in the comment stream below your Facebook feed. So, Chris, I can see your questions come up. I had forgotten to monitor them. Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, it says, I joined the chat midway through your speaking. Did you mention a specific way you're promoting business? Oh, so don't know your name, sorry, but an anonymous Facebook user. Yeah, so I just briefly mentioned that been helping a lot of people who've contacted me and need access for the wage subsidy, or dealing with government departments. I've dealt with dozens of businesses, and my staff have as well. And just obviously this latest Business with Bish video series, that if you check my Facebook, you'll see a whole series of videos just talking to local business owners and trying to give them some publicity. And if you're a business owner yourself who's watching, contact me, and keen to do that with as many people who want to do that.
Great, thanks, Chris. I'm sure I'll have to check if there's any other questions in there as well. So have you? One of the other areas that's coming up this week is around the annual plan for Lower Hutt, and I know the Upper Hutt one is out as well. So submissions on that closed this Friday. So very hard for it to get any airtime and recognition, given that everyone is in transition back to level 2 and trying to set their offices up or re-establish their business premises as well. So did you want to make any comments on the annual planning process?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately that's for people in the Hutt to have their say on. I mean, it's a tough time for many people. The council is obviously proposing a rates increase of 3.8%. People have their own views on that, and if you're concerned about that, you should tell the council. If you're comfortable with that, you should tell the council. I suppose my overall point would be just participate. I sort of know it's it's probably less top of mind for many people, particularly business owners, because they've got so many other things to worry about. But it is important. The council has, my understanding is that the council has, sort of done, a 1 year sort of emergency budget, and they've, put some spending restraint in on quite a few areas. There's some cuts to various areas to pay for some of the necessary capex in particular. So I just encourage people to have their say. It is an important part of the process, and business owners, pay a lot of rates that help fund the city and the services that we need.
Yeah, great. And I got just to add to that, if you are a business owner, and the Chamber will be putting in a submission by Friday on the annual plan for Hutt City. If you're a business owner and you do have concerns, please email me directly, and I'll make sure that those concerns are passed through to our council in Lower Hutt, and my email address is ceo@hutt-chamber.org.nz. So yeah, happy to provide that voice through from the business community. I just want to address one of the comments that the Facebook user who asked you your question, Chris, has said not sure why we're anonymous because he or she can see their name. Just to explain, we're using some technology called StreamYard, and because Chris and I are on the stage as such, the Facebook users identification doesn't come through on our screens. We can see that afterwards once we've gone, once we've finished, but at this point we can't see it on StreamYard, so that's why it was anonymous. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's all right. So it doesn't look like we've got any other questions. When does Parliament go back to sitting and all that? So when does all that resume?
Next Tuesday.
It resumed already?
Next Tuesday, and apparently it's going to be an exciting Tuesday according to the media this morning. So
I wasn't going to go there.
Probably won't talk about that, but yeah. So no, next Tuesday. So you obviously had the budget last Thursday, government budget for the year, and we're into recess this week, and so I'm just out and about. Did a lot of videos yesterday, as I mentioned, and talking to people. And look, to be honest, actually quite good. It's this week's my first real opportunity to sort of get out and about for a couple of months. And that's it's probably the best part of the job, to be honest, is being out and about, and you have all sorts of conversations and help a lot of people. So it's been good to do that, and so I've got a big day planned, and so next Tuesday, and then of course Parliament finishes in early August, and then of course we've got the election campaign, and then the election. So it's all happening.
Wow. That's a whole year in about 5 minutes.
I know.
It feels like, yeah, this whole thing feels like about 5 minutes long. So, yes, okay. So, thank you very much, Chris, for joining us this morning. I know you're going to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we have Grant Robertson, Minister of Finance, joining us at 9 o'clock online on this Facebook Live channel as well. So, please join us. I know Chris is joining us, but for those of you who are watching, please join us that day. Tomorrow morning, that's Wednesday the 21st at 9 o'clock, and Grant will be speaking to the budget and be available to answer questions as well. So normally we would do that live, and we're delighted to be able to still do that this year in an online environment, which I'm sure is something we're going to all learn. Well, we've all learned to embrace, and it'll probably something we'll be continuing anyway. So thank you very much, Chris, for your time this morning. Have a nice day, and cheers. See you.